Hey everyone, I'm Matt Stradley here with John Williams. We're joined with our new head women's basketball coach, Honey Brown, and this is the Bulldog Breakdown. Uh, John and I were all just Twitter fingers when we found out who the new women's head basketball coach was going to be. And Coach Brown, what was that process like for you? And from finding out that Coach Mock Patrick Brown was taking her leave, and that you into when you're installed as the head coach.
Well, it was a ball of emotions. I would think that most people would understand. It's you've got a great friend and a mentor, and your boss who's decided to step away for so many right reasons, and so happy for her and what they want to do in their journey. But then there's a lot of another flood of emotions coming in as far as wow, what a great opportunity. She's prepared me so well, I felt like, in my journey throughout just being here at Asheville, but just, in other stops that I've had. And so just a rush of excitement and emotion. And then, but also just trying to take a deep breath, because you do realize that, it is a big opportunity and a big step. And, you want to make sure that you're seeking wise counsel and you're thinking through this process. But it didn't take long to know that this was what I felt like had been laid out for me as well, and was just super excited to have the opportunity. But just, a little bit heartbroken, like, a lot of Bulldog fans probably, because I've spent 8 years with Coach Mock. And I was telling someone the other day, we've probably spoken to each other or seen each other almost every day for about 8 years. And so, to have someone like that that's not going to be in your life quite as often is going to be a little bit different. But with all that being said, I'm super excited and grateful for the opportunity, and I'm thankful that you guys were as excited as maybe some other Bulldog fans that I was the one that was picked to be the next leader.
That's awesome, Coach. One of the things that I thought about when they did give you the nod to be the head coach was, if it ain't broke, don't fix. And you guys have done such a stellar job in the past 7 to 8 years within the program and building a culture there that is sustainable and successful. But then also you being the assistant coach under Coach Brown for so long, and being able to see the nuances and what it takes to really have a successful program. But then also as an assistant coach, it is your job also to make the head coach look good. And I thought that you'd done, and the staff have done, a fantastic job of aiding and helping Coach Brown out. And now, you have the opportunity to do that same thing. And so I was ecstatic to hear that you got the job, because, like I said before, if it is not broke, please do not fix it. You guys are doing a fantastic job there in the women's program at UNC Asheville.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We've worked really hard at it, like a lot of people do in this business. But you also hope that you're doing things the right way, and I think that's what I learned a lot from Coach Mock, and what her philosophy's been is that you want to do things the right way, and you want to treat people well, and understand that this is a business, and we're here to win basketball games. But this is a big part in these young ladies' lives, and moving away from home, and so you want to help them in all facets. And I think that's why we've built a program and not just winning teams, is because we've built that culture, like you mentioned, and made this a family. And, that's something that I'm planning to continue and keep moving forward, and hopefully take it to another level. But she, Brenda's done a great job here as far as setting that tone. And like you said, it's you hope that if it's not broke, you don't fix it, and now we can just keep moving forward. And that's what my goal is, and my vision is for what we want to do in the near future.
I know from a management standpoint, you've gotten to see Coach Mock over the past 8 years, and how she kind of built that familial feeling around the program. I'm curious, on the X's and O's sides, what's one departure from Coach Mock's philosophy that you hold?
You know what? I was kind of the defensive person the past few years, she kind of put that on me a little bit. And, maybe my style might be maybe a little bit more aggressive. We'll see as we kind of get our group together and figure out what'll be the best way to go about it. But I think that, maybe pressing, maybe not, but maybe just getting after it, or maybe trying to create a little bit more offense from our defense. Something that I think we did in those years we won championships, we had some really good 3-point shooters. And I think that, Coach did give them the green light and we shot a lot more threes. But the last couple of years, that hasn't quite been in our cards or how we've done things offensively. So people may look at it and say, oh, that's a difference of what she may bring. But because we may shoot more of those next year. But I do think it's something that, throughout the years, we have done that with certain teams. But that we did recruit some players this past year that were freshmen and that will see more minutes this year who could shoot it a little bit more. And so I think that, you might see a few more threes go up, and maybe because I was a 3-point shooter too, you might see a couple more go up and give people a little bit more green light. We'll see.
Now, Coach, I know that Sonora has graduated, or she's graduating, and all of a sudden at the second half of the season, me and Matt were like, I don't know if we were excited, but also kind of appalled that she was taking these threes, but she was making them. And I was like, well, what just happened here?
Yeah.
It feels like, but, like one of those things is, my question was, could she always do that?
Well, it's one of those things that I think it's funny you said that, because Sonora we were trying to, always increase her range. She would just kind of always work to just that 15, 17 footer, even though she might have had the ability. She's always had the strength. It was just, I think, more of a confidence piece. And when she hurt her collarbone her junior year, that put her behind on some of continuing that development. And then even this past summer, she was going through some things with her shoulder. So again, people don't always know those pieces. And so you're wondering, okay, why did some of that not develop? But there's some other reasons why, she might have been limited at times from increasing that. But I'm like you, I think she felt like it was something the team maybe needed, and she felt confident in it and had been working on it some, like after practice and, pulling it a little bit. So I think it was one of those situations where she hit one and was like, hey, let's go. And one game she had like a little heat check going. We were like, what are you doing? Hey, what you doing? What you doing there? But it was, she looked over at the bench and was like, okay. So, let's.
My bad. I'm really.
Yeah. So, but heat checks are good though. You want players to feel confident enough that they to have that. It's kind of like Tamia Lewis in our last game we played at home in the tournament.
Ooh.
She was hot, and she even pulled one even quicker maybe than what she normally would. But we were like, go ahead, And it was it was exciting to see her get hot in that game for sure.
Fantastic.
I know that it's a pretty smooth transition from Coach Mock to where you're taking over the reins, and then everything becomes extremely unnormal with what's going on in the country and the world today. How does that affect you recruiting? How does that affect the team building? How does that come into play? All those pieces that it's your first time having the reins of this program, and then everything that is normal is gone.
Yeah, I think that of all times to take over a program, for someone to have been an assistant and be able to slide over, this is probably the best time because of what's going on in our world right now. At least the players know me, that I've recruited all of them. Their parents know me. So yes, it's different, and they know it's a different voice from a leadership perspective, but they're used to hearing from me and hearing me say things. I mean, again, Coach Mott gave me a lot of freedom, to speak up and present things and, direct. So I don't think that's a huge change for them. I think our players are just, because we are a family and tight-knit group, and this is supposed to be, the spring where you're getting better, but, it's a time for them to enjoy each other even more, and they're not having that. And I think that's what they're missing quite a bit. And just like you mentioned, some of the team building and team chemistry that we could already be building. We talked about that on a Zoom call with our rising seniors, and like this would be the time that they would be working on their leadership skills, and they would be taking over their voice in the weight room or wherever it would be, and they're not getting that opportunity. So just like I'm not, they're not either. But from a recruiting perspective, again, because we recruit so much as a group and as a family, I don't feel like that we're behind by any means, because again, recruits and families, a lot of them have been on campus. I think we did a really good job of that. And we've done that in the past, where we try to get underclassmen on campus, and so that they are already familiar with us. Part of that's because you want to make sure that they know you love them already, but also they can watch your team over the season instead of waiting till the spring and then you're having to go back and say, oh, remember we did this, or remember we did that. Well, they probably were following us all year. So if there's a player that you think that you already like, but everybody's going to feel a little bit behind recruiting right now. Even young ladies. I was talking to a coach earlier today, and it's, he was trying to tell parents of players, stay faithful in this process, because everybody's on the same playing field right now. So there's a lot of young ladies that, and young men that are not getting opportunities to showcase their talents or showcase how much they've improved over a year. And you've just got to trust that at some point, some of these things will fall back into place. But, you always feel a little bit behind just because it's the nature of recruiting, because you're always wondering when you're going to be done with that class and you're moving on. So it makes it a little bit harder. But the good part is that it's all the same. It's not like any state or any place has got more advantage than the other. So the recruits are actually getting used to, phone calls and FaceTime and Zoom and that type of thing. So it's not not normal, but it's becoming the normal right now for the next few months from a recruiting standpoint.
I like that it looks like I'm calling into this from like an antique shop. And Coach, you're clearly in the office getting your work done. I think John's calling in from a fallout shelter somewhere.
I'm in my man cave. It's not pretty, but it's got a couch. It's got a TV. It's got Ninja Turtle figures all over the place. It's got some of my accolades, my degree. Yeah, and it's a work in progress. I'm working on it.
Well, how did the Ninja Turtles make the list before your degree? That was the order I have questions about.
The Ninja Turtles made a major impact in my development as a young man, into the person that you see today.
You wouldn't have made it through college without them, right, John? Is that what you're trying to say?
I wouldn't have made it. So, here's something. I'll show you right now. Something my uncle made for me.
Look at that.
In 1994. All right.
That's fantastic, John.
Now, is that a painting or a drawing? What is that, John?
It's a drawing. It's a picture. It's a painting that my uncle spray painted and made it into like and he's an artist, so he did that, and so
we're gonna call you Jonatello. How about that?
Ooh.
That's what you call me. How did you?
I hope that sticks.
Jonatello, baby. Here we go.
I need that to stick so bad.
How did I know? I mean, come on. I have a brother. I know some Ninja Turtles.
I actually named myself that for a second. And then there was a time frame in the early 2000s where everybody used to like freestyle rap and stuff like that. And I tried to throw that out there and I got shot down. Immediately, that's when I knew that wasn't going to work for me. All right. So
I just found out that John used to be a freestyle rapper. This may be the greatest day of my life, Coach.
Yeah.
Quarantine's bringing it out of everybody, guys.
I don't know, man. Next year, how big of a piece is Nadiria Evans?
You know what? Nadiria was such a big piece even this season, and I think you guys saw that. And Bulldog fans and even the conference got a good view of what she's capable of. Nadiria was just a relentless worker, I think, and really had a great summer. So I think, again, this is it seems like a setback for people because she's not getting to be in her normal routine that you would get being in Kimmel Arena and shooting and doing things. But, I do think that she built a lot of confidence over the season. She's already embraced some of the leadership pieces that we've already asked her to do. And I think she is, just ready to put it in a consistent effort and consistent scoring, rebound, all those things, facets that she can bring to the game. I think she's just ready to showcase that consistently. I mean, she had glimpses, and most of the year, it was pretty consistent for her. But if she could have just, had a few more games here and there, we might win a few more of those, but also it just helps her, and it helps her not get her confidence shaken, or it just helps her overall as she continues to grow her game. But I know it's, something that she's continuing to work on with, how to get stronger, how to work through contact, making better reads with things. And, she's going to be a major impact player, not just for us, but I think in the conference in general. I'm excited for her in her senior year for sure.
And you talked a little bit about her impact offensively with you changing your style's still going to be similar, but you're going to have some focal points on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. And would you, obviously, I think she's your best defensive player as far as on ball. She makes life difficult for the primary guards bringing the ball up the floor. I don't know if she's going to be the centerpiece of it. My question is, will she, or are you going to try to preserve her energy, kind of hang her back a little bit, maybe play more off ball D? That's my question for you with her.
I think that some of that may depend on how our other pieces fit with that. Because like you said, she can impact shooting through passing lanes, or do you put her on the ball to disrupt? And I think because she is capable of doing both, it'll be good for us, I think, strategically, to be able to put her in various spots, because then it's harder for you to, Nadiria's guarding this person, let me just go send them away and have somebody else bring the ball down, or whatever it might be. So for us, I think if we have our other pieces step up defensively, then you can shift somebody like her around a little bit more. So it's harder for people to scheme against, okay, where is she, or where's their best defender? And then, okay, now we're going to go away from them, or whatever it might be. So my emphasis is, again, on her, but also where can I put everybody else and how are they developing? Because that will help dictate, I think, on her end. But, you made a good point is, do you have her do as much as you need to do defensively? Is it going to affect her offense? And I think that's the other challenge for Nadiria as a senior is, being able to continue to build her stamina, so where that's not a factor. And so that, wherever we need you that night, or however we need you, you're capable of bringing that energy on both ends for long periods, or for as long as we need you to. But we've got some folks, I think, that, played, didn't play as much last year, that can be impact defenders as well. She's probably one of the fastest athletic kid that we've ever had here, but there's some other players that bring some things defensively and some length. And I think that can help impact to maybe be able to play her off. So if they're disrupting or their length bothers people, then she can shoot through gaps a little bit more and get some steals.
Coach Brown, if you weren't a basketball coach, you would be a blank.
Forensic scientist.
Ooh.
I was a chemistry major in college, and I taught high school chemistry before I got into college coaching. And I love like CSI shows and things like that. So I think that if I could go through that, like if somebody told me I couldn't be involved in sports at all, because at one point in my career I did some training, is I would want to do something like that. Like I would want, not necessarily be a cop. I have a lot of respect for those people, but I think I would, like the detectives or slash, that CSI stuff.
Like solving crimes through science. I love it.
Yeah. I'm a little science nerd sometimes too. I'm more of a sports nerd, but if I had to step away from sports, that's what I would probably want to do.
Now, regarding CSI, would you change the entry music that they have there?
That's a great question.
You talking about the "Who Are You" song? That one?
Yeah.
For the Vegas? No, I love it, man. Come on,
okay.
Yeah. I can't say I watch all the other ones though. I like just the original CSI, that one. But But NCIS, some of those ones, I mean, I'll watch all that kind of stuff when you have some free time. It's funny what I'll put on TV, and I might be working or have something. And, those are types of shows you can kind of look up every so often and know what's going on while you're doing other things. So it's pretty easy to do.
Usually when John says something, he has something on his mind, like he was going to say, "Oh, I got the perfect song for it." John, what's your song?
To be honest with you, like I was thinking of, what, let's just leave it there. I don't even want to bring it up. So,
right, very good.
Yes, you you don't have much. You probably don't have much TV time, but I'm sure that you have a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been watching? What have you been binging?
Oh gosh, binging is probably not the right word. I'm not really a binge watcher. I like to watch a few episodes and then have something to come back to. I do like, HGTV stuff is on all the time. I do like that kind of thing too. It's just, again, kind of mindless TV, but just, watching that kind of stuff. On Netflix, that show, the series All American, I had been watching that a little bit. And that's a cool show. I mean, it's again, what shows are realistic? It's not. I'm like, where are these kids? I mean, what's happening here?
Some of them look like they're 30.
Parents, what's happening?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's a good little show. I think I've caught up finally. I'm through season 2, so I think I'm ready for the next stuff. But it's been a cool show to follow. And let's see what else. Just kind of picking up some movies. I tell you what, I'm going to watch the WNBA draft on Friday. That's coming on, and then I'll watch the Jordan. I can't wait for the Jordan release on Sunday. So
yes,
that'll be what I'll watch, and probably watch that a few times. So
yeah,
I'll get you my Zoom link. You can just kind of link right in. We can watch it together if you want.
Sure. Yeah.
Done.
Eat some popcorn.
Tough. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and right now they're talking about the Jordan thing as if people may not like Michael after it. Listen, we all knew the kind of dog Michael was. I'm gonna love him more probably.
Well, if you're a true person who like the same reason people love Kobe from when he like Kobe was a killer, and until he quit playing or whatever. I mean, look at his relationship with Shaq and a lot of the other players. I mean, he was a killer. Well, where did he learn that? He learned that from Michael. I mean, Michael was a killer, and that he's had books, and the book Relentless and all the other stuff. So you may not like him because you may realize that he may not have been somebody that you wanted as your teammate, or he was going to cut you. But those guys were sure happy when they had rings and championship trophies, and
exactly.
The money.
Exactly. Well, I like that. I hope that it paints the picture of that. Basketball isn't just fresh days and cinnamon, and there's going to be some adversity. And when you get through that adversity, that's when you get to enjoy the benefits from it, and things like championships and rings and what it really takes to go through. And I think sometimes there's young players today, kids today, that are looking for that good feeling story, and that's not how it always is. And in order for you to go, to win something special, you have to go through something very difficult, and you have to sometimes create those atmospheres in order to make something special with that group. And so I think that I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see how the young kids respond to it, and I can't wait to let them know, hey, that's everywhere. Welcome.
Right. Yeah, it will be interesting. I'm looking forward to it because it was, my era, and you have people that are trying to compare, and it's so hard. Like you can't compare, but it'll be interesting, like you said, how people react to it. And but if you were growing up and watching him through his career, if you really followed basketball, you already knew some things about him, like you said. And so for some folks, they're may have learned this for the first time. But if you really have followed or studied, you knew how he was, or ever paid attention to anything before. But you can't say that Larry Bird and some of those other guys weren't some of the same way.
Exactly.
Larry Bird was a killer.
In the same vein.
Yeah.
So much in the way that Michael was sort of the mentor to Kobe, I know Coach Mock is one of the coaches that you've learned the most from. Name two other coaches, whether you've met them or just their philosophies that have impacted who you are as a coach.
Easy, Pat Summit for sure. Of course, growing up in Tennessee, that
Right.
a little bit easier. But even if you weren't, like they were, just how much she impacted women's basketball, empowering women, but also if you knew her story, she was, people think about the glare and how hard she was on her players, but the relationship, like you don't always hear about that piece, like you were saying, is, her having them over to her house to eat dinner and just, being able to put her arm around them and then for them to open up. Is that a lot of people didn't always know that side about Pat or what she brought. And so, she could be so tough on them and demand and be so demanding, but also, be that person that they could talk to and they could trust as they were going through that process and growing up from high school to through college. Have learned a ton from her. Gosh, there's just so many across the board that's impacted me as well. But, even my good friend, Amanda Butler, who's at Clemson, she and I grew up together, but just, our journeys, you kind of learn things from each other's journeys a little bit too, and kind of her path and especially what she's done the past few years. So I was in Florida when she was there at first coaching. And so kind of watching how she developed that program, because it was not very good. And she kind of rebuilt that. And it was her alma mater and how much it meant to her. And then her going through the struggles and then, getting let go and going through some other process, but how she learned so much from that. And then what she did with it, like going and studying from Brad Stevens and, going to the Oklahoma City, to there and with their D-League team and spending time with Billy Donovan and how she grew as a coach and then what she's doing now at Clemson and how you don't want to say she's changed. I just think she's evolved, but because she's a good friend, you're always going to notice and pay attention to how she's doing things, and because some of the backstory or some of the behind the scenes, maybe a little bit more than just watching a Gino or watching, someone else. But yeah, I would say, those two, easy, Pat and Amanda for sure. And then gosh, there's so many other good ones. You go to a lot of clinics and you hear so many good things from a lot of other coaches. Lynn Dunn's been great, and you've learned a lot from her over the years. And then, gosh, even people like a Brad Stevens or people like that from an X's and O's, because he was so good at Butler on when he was a college coach and their execution and the types of offenses and things that they did. And then what he's been able to do, with the Celtics as well. He's somebody that if you want to think about X's and O's and certain pieces, he's got kind of a different guy, how he sees things. It is pretty interesting to watch. But I'd say those folks for sure. There's so many others, but those are easy ones to name off, I think.
I know John's a huge fan of defense leading to offense and attacking defense. For the fans next year, what's something that they can look forward to that your team is going to bring?
I think some of the continued energy, hopefully they see our players having fun and, really, high-fiving, really getting excited for each other. I think that's something that, we've done. And I think certain years it was better than others as far as bringing that energy and really showing that, and then our hustle and diving around for loose balls, kind of being that most aggressive team on the court. Hopefully that's something that they'll notice or can pick out. And we say this a lot as coaches sometimes, you want to be able to somebody walk in a gym late and them not know who's up or down, and they can see your team is still flying around. And hopefully that's something that, that people will be able to see from our team is, you want to always be the team that's outworking, but also the team that's, got the most energy on the floor as well. So I think that's a piece that, we want to continue to build on and to really stand out for what we're going to bring on the court next year.
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen that, the past, 3-4 years that I've been around to watch you guys go at it. And One thing has stayed steady, and that's the energy, the effort that you guys have provided in those games. And one of those being, especially in the paint area, like and you guys hung your hat on this past year, rebounding the ball. Like, you guys would create second, third chance points for yourselves. And not because sometimes you weren't the biggest team. It was just you outworked them. You wanted it more, and those come with mentality and the way you guys approach every day in practice as well as games. And so that was something that I noticed as well. And we've talked about before on TV, which is, just the relentless attitude, effort, and grit that they put out there every single day on the floor.
Yeah, and we were 17th in the nation in rebounding, and very proud of that as an overall group. And, it is going to be rebounding by committee, of course. Brooke had an outstanding year for us. It was dominant on the glass, but again, some of that, she was the beneficiary of everybody else crashing hard. And when everybody else is crashing, it left her with some one-on-ones, and she was able to get hers. And that's important. If you don't send, if everybody else isn't going hard, then it's a lot easier for other people to gain rebound a little bit. But I do think that's something that we're going to emphasize. We talk about this some. It's, we talked about 3-point shooting. Well, how confident are you as a 3-point shooter to let it go, knowing that your teammates are going to go chase it down for you, and that all the eggs aren't in just one basket of me shooting. I know my team can still score on this possession. If I take a good 3-point shot, we're going to be in great position to hopefully get a rebound. And if not, stick it right back, bring it out and us get another good look. But that's something that's going to continue. We don't have Brooke is a good one. And we've always been able to have that in the paint, like you said, but we're going to just, keep going at it and, keep sending bodies to the glass. And like you mentioned, keep emphasizing it in practice. But again, that's that aggressive mentality I think that we're going to continue to bring. And those are energy plays. We talk about that a lot in practice, is that that's heart and hustle. And that's something that we're going to make sure that we have on this team, no matter what. If we have anything to say about it, myself and our staff and our players, because they know that's what our program is about. But we are definitely going to be willing to fly around and hopefully be the first to the ball.
With the quarantine, and this is a very important basketball question, have you decided to try to bake anything that you didn't know you could do before, and how did it go?
Make anything as far as cooking, or you're talking
Oh, yes.
about okay, I was going to say, make sure, I wasn't going to go build a garden in my backyard or something. Have
you taken up knitting? I don't know. What's new?
Gosh, no, we leave that to Rebecca Nelms, our academic advisor. She's been great. She actually sewed a bunch of masks for everybody, so that's
awesome.
But yeah, I leave the sewing to my mom and my sisters. They're really good at that. I'm not so much. Home ec was not one of my strongest classes. But no, I've not tried cooking anything else. I was going to throw together some veggie lasagna at some point. I've done that before, but it's one of those things you do have to take a little time to put that together and know what you need to buy. That's not ingredients that you just always have laying around. So that might be coming down the pipe, but these last few days have been a little busy. So I've not been quite the chef the past week or so since I've taken over. I've been on the phone quite a bit and and Zooming quite a bit. So
Sure.
but that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
So we're going to wrap it up for the Bulldog Breakdown. Coach Brown, we thank you so much for giving us a little insight to your team. Let's wrap it up by just making one outlandish claim about next season. I'll go ahead and start. Nadiria Evans is going to be Conference Player of the Year.
I think that's a great one. I'm all for that. I think she's more than capable of doing that for us and for this conference. So I'm with you on that. Let's speak that into existence now and make it happen.
John, what about you? What you got?
I think you're going to see some special play leadership from Amira Corpening. She started to show me some things as the year progressed. Her mid-range shot and ability, like she saw that there was a need for shooting a little bit more, and she started to take it. She actually has a great ability to get into the paint and create, and she just hadn't been asked to do that. And so I assume that she'll have more of a role in that, as well as what she was already doing in facilitating making things difficult for the primary ball handler on the defensive end, and being more vocal. She's going to have to do that. And so I think that we're going to see some solid play, but also leadership from her.
I think that's a good one too. I mean, Amira's always been super focused and super solid. We were just zooming earlier today, and she was talking about her routine and her workouts that she's doing on her basket outside of her house right now.
We've seen some of those. Yeah, they're actually solid. Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, like you said, she's one that I think will impact us in a lot of ways. And again, because she is aggressive and she's so strong, that I think we can utilize her in some of those facets that you talked about. And then I also think for you guys, you're talking about some outlandish or whatever. I think that you're going to see some of our young players get a lot of minutes this year, because I think we're going to need it. But I think if we're playing a style where we're getting after it, we're going to go deeper than we have maybe in the last couple of years. So I think that's another piece that you're going to see from us, is maybe go have a little deeper rotation and really see some impact from some of our younger players.
And continue the tradition of winning the tournament, right?
Right.
Of course.
I love it. We didn't get that opportunity this year, so I'm excited. We've talked about that too. We're going to try to continue to be made in March. That's our goal.
All right, Coach Brown, thank you so much for joining us. For John Williams, I'm Matt Stradley saying see you next time on the Bulldog Breakdown.